What is happening, YouTube? It's Mr. Chillout here, and I'm back with another how-to guide, and this week I'll be bringing you my tips on how to be a better SWAT player. So let's get into this. Right, let's get the ball rolling. So, to all you new players of SWAT, I want to give you a quick insight into what exactly SWAT is as a game type. And the most important thing about SWAT is the fact that you have no shield. So it's literally headshots will kill you with one shot, and then body shots I think 2 to 3 depending on where you hit them. The next thing you need to remember is there is no radar. You have to be aware of your surroundings and keep an eye out. There's also no weapons that you can pick up off of the ground. So it either be a BR, pistol, or DMR. On the older games there were other variants of this, but on Halo 5 they're your guns that you get. So let me get into my tips for this game type, which is, for me personally, I think a very skillful game type to play, and at times very infuriating. It's one of them game types, if you get angry quickly you might as well not bother playing this, because you're going to end up throwing your control, and we all know they're not cheap, so stay clear if you've got serious rage issues. But for me, over years of playing SWAT, I picked up a few tips, and my first tip is something that I think a lot of people forget about, and that is you need to keep your reticle up no matter what. Using the likes of a Spartan ability is a no-go zone, because the animation to get back from doing your ability to getting your reticle into a position where you can shoot, them seconds are vital in a fight in SWAT, and without that chances are you're going to get shot in the head, or even if I get 2 body shots on you, you can't do much about it. So you need to actively not use your Spartan abilities. Another thing I want to touch on is about the animations and the getting your gun ready and the reticle in the right place, and that is clambering is one of the things that you don't want to be using in SWAT. If you can do a crouch jump, if you don't know what that is, go and look at other videos on YouTube. I'm sure you'll find it. Now, veteran Halo players will know all about this, because back in the day it was the only way to get up to certain points of the map, and you had to do your crouch, and it gave you the ability to get to ledges that other people couldn't get to. That's what you want to be using in SWAT, because you never have to do an animation, so your gun will always be at the ready. The same with assassinations. If you're going to go and do an actual assassination with the animation, then chances are you're going to be a sitting duck, and if they're not alone, the enemies are going to hear their teammates saying, "Oh my god, getting assassinated." They'll turn around, shoot, bam, and chances are you might not even get the actual assassination kill, and you'll get killed. So bear that in mind. I like to use the swift melee attack, and that will kill someone if you hit them in the back anyway, rather than holding the melee button and going into the animation. And the same thing with the reticle is you need to keep it at head height. There's no point in running into a room looking at the fucking floor, because at the end of the day, the seconds that it takes you to go from the floor to look up again, chances are you're gonna get shot and lose the firefight. It's all about timing with SWAT. Another thing that a lot of people don't take into consideration is learning your maps and learning where your sight lines are. Because the headshots are so deadly and it will result in a kill, knowing that you're running down a corridor and where you can be seen from is important in terms of where you're looking. So you need to think about where the enemy are likely to be and where they are likely to see you from, so you can combat it with your movement and where you're going to be looking as you go into specific areas. And this rolls on nicely to knowing the spawns of a map, registering where your team is, and knowing that if your team are behind you, chances are the enemy is going to be spawning in front of you. After your team are in front of you, chances are your enemy is going to be spawning behind you, because of the way that the spawning system in Halo works. When an area gets too populated, the spawn will move on to another area of the map. So if you're a lone wolf and you're on the other side of the map to your enemies, chances are the enemies are going to start to spawn on you, because the main population of your team are on the other side of the map, so they're not going to get spawned on, and you'll get outnumbered, and chances are get killed. Which is why using the power points of a map, or using areas which you can dominate, basically allows you to sit back and let the enemy team spawn, die, spawn, die, spawn, die, because you're going to be knowing where they're coming from. You can look for the choke points and focus your fire on that, and if you've got all your team on the same wavelength, chances are you're just going to dominate them and get them angry. we all know that once you get annoyed, you're going to start to drop your head. Once you drop your head, you're going to start to make mistakes and stupid decisions. You want to get the other team doing that, not your team or yourself. Another thing I want to touch on as well is one of the things that I have realised with SWAT is the respawns are horrible at times. I mean, I've had it on so many occasions where I've died, respawned into someone's reticle. So regardless of how good of a player you are, you're gonna die. You physically, as your screen flashes up, you getting shot at. You can't, even if you've got the best reactions in the world, you cannot react that quickly to someone shooting their gun. And that can be one of the most infuriating things for SWAT, and we all know that's out of your control. So sometimes you just need to let it slide, and you just need to realise that the game has shafted you, and let it go and not lose your head. Another thing is, when you've had a string of 4 or 5 deaths for whatever reason, your team's not playing well, you're not playing well, spawns have been against you, you've just been bettered in the situations, you've been outnumbered, there's so many different reasons for it. But when that happens, don't start to chase people and make stupid decisions, because running into a room sprinting after someone because you're like, this is an easy kill, he's not even looking my way, if he's got a good enough pair of headsets on, he can hear you running, he's going to turn around, and then you've just taken away all of that advantage of the sneak attack.
Surprise, motherfucker!
Because you were thinking more about, I've got to get this kill, I've got to do this, I've got to run after this person. On the flip side of that, chances are their teammates are going to be close to them. So you could run into a room with 4 of them in it, in which case you're outnumbered 4 to 1. Now, don't get me wrong, it's quite easy to kill a few of the enemy team if you've got the reactions and you can get your shots off first time every time. But at the same time, if you've got 4 guns pointing at you, chances are you're going to get hit and you're going to die. Another thing is, if you're going to play SWAT regularly and become good at it, you need to have a strong team with you who communicate. It's all about saying what you see so that people can get that shot, because on a game type like Slayer, you might say, enemy, red 2, and a teammate that'll be near red 2 will put a couple shots on it, and then you could pick up the kill from your position. But in SWAT, you call out a target and your teammate's close to it, they can get the headshot and you've got a point for your team. It's the big difference between winning and losing. Another side of it is, if you're getting hit by someone and you have to fall back and you're behind cover, you can call out where the target is so your teammate might have a better vantage point on them, and if they're focused on you, they've got an easy kill. It works in your favour to have a team that communicates. Now, I know that when you go into a lobby on your own, it's very hard to get people to talk because of the way that Xbox Live has become nowadays, but if you've got a group of friends, play together and you will win together. Anyway, that's all for this week's how-to guide. Hopefully I've helped you with some of the areas you might be troubled in, and if you've liked the video, don't forget to give it a thumbs up, and also don't forget to subscribe to my channel to keep up to date with all my new content. Thanks for watching, and until next time, laters.